river never really sleeps where I live. Even at night, when the village goes still and the wind stops moving to the reeds, I can hear it. Slow water dragging itself over stones like it remembers every secret ever thrown into it. I used to think that was just my imagination playing tricks on me. But after what I saw that summer, I don't trust silence anymore. I was walking back from the edge of the forest when the fog rolled in too fast to be natural. It didn't drift. It arrived, like something breathing across the land. My flashlight flickered once, then again, until the beam turned weak and sickly, barely cutting to the white haze. That's when I noticed the trees weren't moving with the wind anymore. They were leaning inward, like they were listening to something beneath the ground. Then I heard it, not a sound from the forest, but from the river itself. A voice, soft and broken, calling my name like it already knew I would come closer. I should have turned back. I should have run. Instead, I followed the sound into the mist, and that's when I saw it. The river was quiet that night, too quiet for water that should have been moving. Fog lay low across the bank, thick and cold against my skin, clinging to my clothes like damp breath. The air smelled of wet stone and old wood, like something had been left here too long and never forgiven. I stood there first without meaning to, just watching. That was when I saw her, a woman waist deep in the river. She wasn't facing me. She was walking backward against the current, slow and certain, as if the water itself was wrong and she was correcting it. Her feet broke the surface with no sound, no splash, only ripples that moved in the wrong direction. Someone once told me she appears before someone disappears. I didn't believe them until she whispered my name. It came from across the water, soft and close, like it had always been inside my ear. I blinked, and for a second, her reflection moved differently than her body. It turned too early, smiled too late. Behind me, the forest line felt awake. I stepped back from the river. The reeds along the bank bent inward, listening. Not to wind, to me. They began counting. Quietly at first, then in voices that sounded almost like mine. 1 step, 2 steps, 3. But the sound arrived late, like the world was remembering after I had already lived it. I turned toward the trees. They were not where I remembered. Not exactly. Between blinks, they shifted closer, tighter, like a crowd leaning in. Something deeper in the forest answered me with footsteps of its own. Not mine. Something ahead of mine. I followed them anyway. The deeper I walked, the fewer steps I could remember taking. Names floated in the air between trunks. Whispered. Lost. Returned wrong. I passed a hollow tree where a child sat inside, pale and still. It spoke without looking at me. "You left me before," it said in my voice. "Don't do it again." The bark around it breathed. I didn't answer, because I wasn't sure I remembered how. Later, the lanterns appeared on the river, floating lights, soft and golden, drifting under the fog like drowned stars. Villagers once said they were travelers who never left. One of them carried my name, written in trembling light. When I reached for it, the water beneath responded. Not waves, a pressure, like something turning over in sleep. The river felt deeper than it should have been, like geography was only a surface lie. When I touched the lantern, my memory flickered. For a moment, I saw a house floating on the water, rooms I recognized, a childhood hallway that led into something that was not mine anymore. Then it was gone, but something had changed. My reflection no longer matched me. It moved a half-second late, then too early, then not at all. In the reeds, conversations I had forgotten began repeating themselves, correcting me, replacing what I thought I knew. "You didn't go there," the forest whispered. "You already did." Rain came later, though I don't remember clouds forming. Each drop held a reflection, and in every reflection, she stood behind me, not in front, never in front. I turned quickly. Nothing was there, but the wet world kept her anyway. Names started appearing on tree bark. Scratched deep, still fresh. Mine was already there. Twice. One spelled wrong. I tried to leave the forest, but the path bent back into itself. A bridge appeared over shallow fog. Wooden, old, familiar in a way that made my chest tighten. Crossing it led me back to where I started. only not the same. The second time I crossed, no one remembered me on the other side, not even the river. The third time, the bridge felt longer, like it was learning how to resist me. Footprints appeared ahead of me in the damp soil. Mine, but older, but earlier, walking just out of reach. I followed them until I saw myself at the river again, standing still, watching, waiting. The version of me ahead did not turn when I called. Only the reflection moved. The water had become a mirror that refused to obey physics. Inside it, she stood closer than she ever had before. Her hand pressed against the surface from the other side. And then I understood something I didn't want to understand. The river was not reflecting me. It was keeping me, the water still completely. Fish hung in place beneath it, suspended like thoughts forgotten mid-sentence. Time felt paused, except for my breathing. And hers, beneath the surface, a face pressed upward slowly, as if the river was too thin to hold it back anymore. The fog thickened until it became almost solid. A shape moved inside it, larger than distance should allow. The witch was not in the forest. She was the forest remembering itself. And she knew my name. All of them. Even the ones I had not used yet. I backed away, but the reeds whispered louder. Future steps echoed behind my own. Ahead of me, behind me, inside me, the river began to flow upward, not forward, not back, upward. And in that impossible motion, I saw it. The beginning again. The bank. The fog. Myself standing where I had always been standing. Waiting. The voice from beneath the water called again, soft as breath against glass. My name, like it had never stopped saying it. And I understood, finally, in the quiet between heartbeats. The river does not end where it begins. It only learns how to start again. The forest begins just beyond the river bend, where fog stops feeling like weather and starts feeling like a surface you can walk on. The soil is soft under my feet, damp, cold. Every step sinks slightly deeper than it should. And then I hear it. My footsteps, not mine exactly. They arrive half a second late. Echoing through the trees like the forest is learning how I move after I've already moved. One step, then another, and something else joins in. A second set of steps, matching mine perfectly, but slightly out of rhythm, like imitation that is not yet complete. I stop. The forest does not. The counting continues without me. Behind the trees, the fog thickens between trunks, folding itself into shapes that feel almost intentional. The bark looks closer than before, not moving fast, just repositioning itself when I stop noticing. A voice slips through the air, counting, not loud, not soft, just present. 1, 2, 3, but the delay is wrong. It always arrives after I've already done the thing it describes. I start walking again. The counting follows. The deeper I go, the less I trust my memory of walking at all. It feels like the forest is keeping most of it for itself, and giving me only fragments back. Trees shift when I blink, not dramatically, just enough to make paths unrecognizable. A trail I remember is suddenly gone. A new one appears where no soil was disturbed. Something is tracking me, not watching, tracking, as if I am not a person moving through a forest, but a pattern being recorded. The counting grows closer, now inside my chest, now inside my breath. I realize I cannot remember how many steps I've taken, only that there have been many, and fewer are being returned to me. The forest leans inward, listening, waiting for the next number it will steal. The river returns after the forest, or maybe it never left. At night, the surface glows. Soft lantern lights drift beneath the water, moving against currents that should break them apart. They look gentle from above, too gentle, like something pretending to be memory. The fog hangs low, pressing the glow into the river like a lid. I kneel at the edge. The water smells wrong tonight, metallic, old, like something long submerged has started remembering air. The lanterns move slowly beneath the surface. Each one carries a name. Some are faded, some still bright. Then I see mine, floating just under the waterline, steady as a heartbeat. It does not drift like the others. It waits. When I reach for it, the surface tightens. Not like water, like skin, Something beneath responds. A pressure rises from below, pushing gently upward, as if the river is trying to breathe through me. The lantern tilts toward my fingers, and I touch it. Cold spreads through my hand immediately. Not temperature, recognition. For a moment, I see depth where there should be ground. The river opens downward into something too large to belong to this place. A space that feels like it remembers being elsewhere. The lantern flickers, and I hear my name again. Not spoken, pulled from beneath the water. The surface ripples, but nothing breaks it. Something answers from below, slow, patient, waiting for permission I don't remember giving. I pull my hand back too late. The glow beneath the river shifts closer, like it knows where I live now. The forest edge feels different now, not quieter, more precise, like it has adjusted itself around what I've already lost. That's when I hear her voice. Before I see her, it speaks in my childhood tone, the one I haven't used in years, the one I forgot I still had. Why did you leave? I turn slowly. She is there, standing where the trees thin into fog. Her face never fully resolves in the light. Every time I try to focus on it, something shifts, branches, mist, memory, but her voice stays perfect, too perfect. She repeats phrases I buried long ago, words I never said aloud as an adult, things only someone who watched me grow would know. Each sentence feels like it removes something small from me, not physically, not visibly, but inside, like memory being loosened from its place. She steps closer, and I feel childhood becoming less certain, not forgotten, just unstable, as if I can no longer trust what happened then. The forest behind her listens. The trees lean subtly inward when she speaks. She asks again, "Why did you leave me behind?" I don't know how to answer, because I can't remember who she is supposed to be, and that feels more terrifying than recognizing her. Her face shifts again in the fog, almost familiar, almost mine, and the forest quietly waits for me to decide what that means. Things begin to come back, but not correctly. The river returns them. Lost objects wash up along the shore like forgotten thoughts trying to reassemble themselves. A watch appears first. It still ticks, but backward. Each second feels like it is undoing something I have not yet done. A photograph follows. It shows people I don't recognize standing behind me, smiling like they know a version of me I have never met. Then something heavier arrives, a shape in the water. I pull it from the riverbank carefully. It looks like a hand, mine, but wrong. Too familiar in ways I cannot explain. The skin is unchanged, but the presence is not mine anymore. The river ripples as if satisfied, as if it has completed a correction. I step back. The objects on the shore continue to change slightly while I watch. The watch ticks forward again, then stops, then forgets which direction time is supposed to move. The photograph shifts faces when I blink. The river is not returning things. It is editing them, rewriting what they meant before they were lost. Behind me, the water deepens without expanding, like space itself is being reconsidered. I realize then, nothing that leaves this river ever comes back the same. Not objects, not memory, not me. The river bends again and the land tightens into tall reeds. They rise higher than me, thin, pale, wet with fog. At first, they look harmless, just grass grown too tall near water that forgot how to settle. But as I step closer, I hear it. My own voice, not speaking now, speaking then. The reeds are repeating conversations I don't remember having. Words I said days ago, now arriving slightly wrong. Delayed, distorted. You already knew, one reed whispers. Another answers immediately, correcting it. No, he forgot. I stop moving. The reeds keep talking. The silence I make does not silence them. Instead, it sharpens their attention. They bend inward, listening harder. It feels like walking through someone else's memory of me. Not mine, not fully, just fragments stored in wet green bodies that remember better than I do. A voice slides through the reeds, closer than the rest. It corrects me. That didn't happen that way. And suddenly I am unsure what that even was. The air shifts. My thoughts feel rearranged. not stolen, edited. When I take a step back, the reeds echo it before I move. Ahead of me, a future version of me already walking away. The forest beyond the reeds feels thinner now, like it has been partially erased by listening too much. And I realize something that makes my breath hesitate. The reeds are not repeating me. They are improving me, turning my memory into something cleaner, something false, something easier to store. I leave quickly, but I hear them still counting what I should have been, not what I am. The ground ahead is wet again, soft mud holding shapes too clear to be accidental. Footprints, mine, but not from now, from earlier. For moments, I don't remember reaching this place. They lead deeper into the forest. I should turn back. I don't. The further I follow them, the quieter my present becomes. The forest starts feeling like a recording playing over something already finished. Then I see him, a figure ahead of me, walking, always just one turn away, never facing me directly, but moving like he knows exactly where I will step next. Every time I quicken my pace, he stays ahead, perfectly, like I am the delay, like I am the echo. Each step forward takes something from behind me, a memory, a detail, a certainty. Names become harder to hold. Faces slip out of focus. The footprints do not stop. They lead me through places I do not remember passing. Yet my body recognizes them anyway, as if it has done this before without informing me. At some point, I realize something that makes the air feel thinner. I am not chasing someone ahead. I am catching up to myself. The figure stops at a bend in the trees, waits, not turning, but knowing I am close. And I understand, too late, that if I reach him, I may not continue forward as the same person. The river is wrong tonight, not flowing, not still, something beyond both. It is frozen like glass, but not ice, as if movement itself has been asked to pause. Fish hang in the water mid-motion, fins suspended like unfinished thoughts. Reflections appear too clearly, too independently. I see myself on the surface, but I am not doing what I am doing. The reflection moves differently, breathing slower, watching me with more patience than I feel. A pressure builds under the still water, not upward, not downward, inward. The river feels like it is listening to itself for the first time. A face begins to form beneath the surface, not breaking through, just pressing upward from inside the stillness. The fog tightens around the bank. Sound disappears except for breath, mine, and something else matching it. Perfectly, time feels paused, except awareness, except fear, except the understanding that something is awake now, and it was not before. The reflection smiles before I do. Fog arrives without warning, thick, low, heavy enough to swallow distance. And with it comes her, not fully seen, only suggested, a shape that exists where sight becomes uncertain. I hear her before I understand her. Names being spoken into the fog, softly, carefully. Each whisper seems to pull her closer, like naming her is calling her forward. People used to say she takes names, not people, names. And once you lose yours, you stop being found by anything else. I try not to think mine, but the fog reacts anyway. A faint scratching sound begins somewhere unseen, like bark being written on, letters forming slowly in what I cannot see. She is near, not approaching, arriving. I feel the shape of her presence passing through the mist, brushing against thought itself. Someone nearby forgets their own name mid-breath. They do not notice. That is the worst part. I step backward, but the fog moves with me, as if it has already decided where I belong. And somewhere inside it, something writes my name again, deeper this time. The bridge appears when the fog thins. Wooden, old, familiar in a way that feels borrowed. It crosses shallow water that should not require crossing, but it exists anyway. I step onto it. The wood creaks softly, like it recognizes weight. Halfway across, I realize something is wrong. The far side looks exactly like the near side. Same trees, same fog, same silence. I reach the end. I am back where I started. The bridge did not lead anywhere, only back. I cross again. This time, small things have changed. A branch is lower. A sound is missing. Someone I thought I saw is no longer remembered by the air. The bridge feels longer on the second crossing. Not physically, personally. As if it is measuring how many times I am willing to forget the world. On the third crossing, I hesitate, because I can feel it now. Each return removes something, not from the place, from me, and still I cross, because not crossing feels worse, because staying still feels like being erased without movement. The bridge stretches again, longer than before, and somewhere in the fog ahead, I realize there may be no other side left at all. The river looks normal again. That is the first lie. Still water. Soft ripples. Fog, sitting low like it belongs there. I kneel near the edge, not because I want to, but because my body forgets how to stay standing for too long. That is when I see her, in the reflection, standing behind me, not in the river itself, but in the version of me the river chooses to show. I turn. Nothing is there. Only trees. Only mist, only silence pretending to be empty. But the reflection does not follow me anymore. It stays behind, watching, waiting. Then she moves, slowly, one step at a time, mirroring me, but delayed. Wrong. Sometimes she moves before I do. My breath catches, and the reflection exhales first. I step back. She steps forward inside the water, closer than physics allows. Closer than distance should permit. My body feels lighter, as if something is being rehearsed elsewhere, and I am only the echo. The river's surface tightens again, like glass stretched too thin, and I realize she is learning me, not copying, replacing. The forest changes rules without warning. I notice it when I stop walking, just for a second. A mistake. The air tightens immediately. Trees lean closer. Not fast, not violent, patient, like something waking up after pretending to sleep. A breath passes through the forest, not mine. Behind the trunks, something exhales. I move again instantly. The pressure eases. But I understand now. Stillness is not safe here. Stillness is permission. Each pause invites the forest to decide where I belong. I walk faster. The ground responds like it has been waiting for a rhythm. Behind me, branches shift back into place, not hiding, resetting, as if my movement is correcting a mistake the forest almost made. A soft sound follows me, breathing, close enough that it almost matches mine, but always slightly ahead, always slightly older. I don't stop again, not even when I want to, because I can feel it. If I stop long enough, the forest will not move toward me. It will move instead of me. The hollow tree appears where the path shouldn't continue. I know I shouldn't look inside. That thought arrives too late. The opening is small, but the darkness inside feels wide, like it has more space in the world outside it. Then I hear a voice. A child. Soft. Patient. Waiting like it has been speaking for a long time without being answered. I know you, it says. I step closer. Inside, a child sits folded into the wood. Too still. Too aware. Its eyes reflect things I haven't experienced yet. It smiles slightly, but the expression feels borrowed. Don't leave again, it says. My chest tightens. I didn't leave you. I whisper. The child tilts its head. That's what you always say. The wind moves through the hollow tree. The child's voice changes with it. Sometimes older. Sometimes mine. Sometimes something I cannot place at all. The bark around it creaks like it is remembering me, or assembling me. I step back slowly. The child does not move, but the tree does, slightly closer, like it is listening harder than it should be able to. The river begins to speak at night, not with sound, with direction. The water ripples form words backwards, sentences I cannot understand at first, but when I replay them in my mind, they change. Meaning arrives late. Like truth delayed on purpose. Warnings hide inside the reversal. Do not go there. Becomes. You already went. Turn back. Becomes. You never left. The river reacts when I misunderstand it. The surface trembles slightly, like disappointment. I stop trying to listen. That makes it worse. Because silence becomes another message. one I cannot decode at all. The water shifts again, now showing instructions meant for someone else. But I hear them anyway. My name is inside them, incorrectly placed, incorrectly spoken. Reality begins to feel slightly off balance after each sentence, like the world is adjusting itself around a misread command. I step away from the river, but it continues speaking even when I am not there, as if it no longer needs me present to be understood. The fog is different now, heavier, almost solid. It does not move with wind anymore. It moves with intention. Villagers avoid speaking near it, as if words are invitations. I stand at the edge where land disappears into white thickness, and I see it, something moving beneath the fog, not walking, not swimming, existing below the surface of the air itself, large enough that the ground feels temporary, eyes open inside the mist, slowly, like remembering how to see. The witch is not inside the forest. She is the layer the forest rests on. Everything above her is just borrowed space. The fog shifts again, and I feel her attention, not looking, recognizing. My breath becomes visible, then uncertain. The mist thickens around my chest like it is measuring me. Something enormous turns beneath it, not toward me, through me. The forest line behind me feels far away now, less real than the fog, less certain than what is watching from below it. And I understand something I wish I didn't. The witch does not come closer, because she is already here. She always was. The river is darker tonight, not because the light is gone, but because something has taken its place. Fog rolls low, thick as wool, pressing against the water until the surface feels less like liquid and more like memory. That's when I see it. A house, floating, silent. It does not drift with current. It moves like it has chosen direction. Slow, certain, wrong. Wooden steps appear above the waterline, as if the river is pretending to be ground. I step closer without deciding to. The air around the house smells like old walls and childhood dust, like rooms that were never fully closed. Inside, footsteps echo, but no one is there. I walk in anyway. The floorboards creak under me like they recognize weight. Rooms stretch farther than they should. Hallways feel familiar in ways I cannot place. Then I see it. A bedroom. Small. Pale light. A bed I somehow remember sleeping in. But I don't remember living here. Or do I? The memory feels unstable, like it shifts when I try to hold it. A door opens at the end of the hallway, but no one opens it. I step forward, and the house shifts slightly on the water, not moving, rewriting. Sleep comes without permission now, and so does she. In every dream, she is there, not standing still, correcting. She moves through my memories like a careful hand erasing mistakes. A voice I don't fully hear, but somehow understand. This didn't happen this way. I wake up unsure of what this was, but the feeling stays. Like something has been adjusted while I was gone. Waking becomes less reliable. Each morning feels slightly misplaced. I forget small things first, then important ones, then the difference between them. In dreams, she looks almost kind. In waking, I cannot remember her face at all, only the sense that she is responsible for the missing parts of me. Sleep starts feeling dangerous, not because of nightmares, because of edits. I stop wanting to close my eyes, but fatigue decides for me. And when I wake again, something else inside me feels more organized. Less mine. The river changes again. But this time, it changes before I arrive. Footprints appear in wet sand ahead of me. Fresh. Perfectly shaped. Mine. But I have not taken them yet. I freeze. The river reflects a version of me already walking towards something I cannot see. Not the present. Not the past. The future. And it is already happening. I try to step differently. The ground resists, as if correcting me. The river's surface ripples slightly, responding to my hesitation. I move again. The footprints are just ahead of me instantly, matching a version of me I have not become yet. Time feels partially written, like I am reading lines that cannot be changed by speaking them differently. I see myself in the water again, standing at the edge, drowning before I even reach it. But I am not there yet. And somehow I already am. My breath tightens. Because I realize the river does not predict the future. It remembers it. The forest is quieter now, but not empty. The trees feel closer than before, like they have been listening for too long. I notice cracks in the bark, thin lines that move slightly when I stop looking directly at them. Whispers come from inside, not carried by wind, stored, like memory trapped in wood. I press my hand against the trunk before I can stop myself. It is warm, too warm. A voice rises immediately through my fingers. It is a conversation I forgot I had, but the tree remembers both sides. I didn't say that. I whisper. The bark answers. You did. The forest tightens around that word, as if confirming it. Memories shift slightly inside me, not disappearing, rearranging, like something inside the trees is reorganizing my past into a more believable shape. I pull my hand away. The tree exhales softly. Not air, recognition. And I realize something unsettling. The forest is not just alive. It is accurate, more accurate than me. I try to forget her. That is a mistake. Because forgetting does not make her disappear. It only gives her space to move. She appears first at the edge of vision, not fully formed, just suggestion, a presence waiting to be acknowledged. People say her name feeds her, but silence does too. I avoid thinking it. It thinks itself anyway. She grows clearer when I refuse to look, like avoidance is attention in another language. Branches shift when I pass, as if they are making room for something walking just behind perception. I feel her in reflections I don't directly face, in fog that thickens when I hesitate, in memory gaps that feel too intentional to be accidents. Someone once said forgetting her makes her stronger. I understand now, because she is made of memory itself, and I cannot decide what deserves to stay unremembered. A faint sound scratches inside my thoughts, not spoken, written. She is close, not because she came closer, but because I remember her again, and now she is allowed to exist where I am. The river speaks in voices that should feel familiar, but they arrive slightly damaged, like a memory played through broken glass. Come home, it says, and for a moment, I almost believe it. Fog rolls low across the water, soft and pale, swallowing the far bank until distance stops making sense. The air smells like wet stone and something older underneath it, something that remembers doors that no longer exist. The voice calls again. This time it sounds like someone I trust, but the direction is wrong, always slightly off, left when it should be right, near when it should be far, alive when it should be gone. I step closer without meaning to. The river responds immediately. The surface tightens, like it recognizes obedience. Behind me, the forest feels quieter than before, not peaceful, empty in a way that suggests something has already been taken, and I just didn't notice when the voice repeats my name. Soft, patient, wrong in a comforting way. And I realize home is not being offered. It is being constructed around me. He arrives from the fog without warning. One moment there is nothing. The next, a man stands at the river edge like he has always been there and simply became visible late. His clothes are wet, but not in the same way twice. That is the first inconsistency. He looks at me like he recognizes me, then like he doesn't, then like both are true at once. I came back, he says, but his voice changes mid-sentence. Different ages, different tones, different certainty. He repeats his story. Each version contradicts the last. The fog behind him shifts slightly every time he speaks, as if it is adjusting his history in real time. His shadow moves independently, a half step behind him, then ahead, then beside me. When he pauses, he forgets what he just said, and when he continues, it is never the same man speaking twice. I think I was never gone, he whispers finally. But even that changes as he says it. The forest does not react, as if it has already decided which version to keep. And none of them are him anymore. It starts with rain. That does not feel like weather. Each drop falls too deliberately, too aware of where it will land. I notice her in the smallest reflections first. Water drops on leaves, on skin, on stone. Each one shows the same thing. Her, standing just behind sight, never directly visible. only inside curved surfaces that should not hold detail. I stop moving. The rain continues, and she becomes clearer in stillness. Not closer, just more defined, as if motion hides her and observation summons her. Every droplet becomes an eye. The world feels watched in fragments. I try to avoid looking at anything wet, but that makes everything feel wet. Reflections multiply in unintended places. Glass, bark, memory, each one slightly different. Each one wrong in a specific way that feels intentional. The forest becomes unstable under the rain, not breaking, mirroring, and I realize I am surrounded by versions of her that only exist when I refuse to look directly, which means I am always looking at her. Even when I am not, the forest changes language, slowly, carefully, until it becomes certain. Trees begin forming letters and bark patterns I did not notice at first, then cannot ignore. My name appears in places it should not belong. Not carved, not written, grown. The forest says it without speaking. Every path shifts when I acknowledge it. Every direction bends slightly away from recognition. Even silence feels like repetition now, like the absence of sound is still choosing me. I stop saying my name internally, but that does not help. The forest already knows it too well. It repeats it through leaves, through roots, through spaces between thoughts. I walk faster. The paths adjust faster, not blocking me, correcting me, like I am moving incorrectly through something that already understands my correct position. And then I understand something worse than being watched. The forest is not learning me. It has already learned me completely, and now it is deciding what I become next. I return to the river, not because I want to, because everything else leads back here anyway. The fog is perfect tonight, circular, balanced, like the world has closed itself into a loop that forgot how to open. The water flows upward, not violently, not impossibly, naturally, as if it has always known this direction, and only recently stopped pretending otherwise. The bank looks familiar, too familiar, like I have stood here before in every version of myself that ever existed. I step closer. The surface reflects me again, but not as I am, as I have been, and as I will be, all at once. The voice returns from beneath the water, soft, patient, endless. My name, but not as a call, as a continuation. I understand then. There is no exit point, only return points that forgot they were endings. The river does not end where it begins. It loops through memory until memory forgets it is repeating. The fog closes slightly tighter, not trapping me, confirming me, and I stand there at the edge of water that remembers me more completely than I remember myself, waiting for the next time I begin again.